Yeah. Hey everyone. Welcome to Comic Essay. My name is Shaun, and today I want to do something a little different. I want to start a new playlist on my channel, and I just want to call it like "Learn About Superman." I think that would be pretty cool. So, I know like everyone understands the basics, I guess, of Superman, what he can do, but I just want to give a general overview of the character Superman and hopefully be able to do the same thing for a few other characters that I like. Superman is not my favorite character, but he is a character that I think is pretty cool. And hopefully I will just be able to keep these things going. God willing. So yeah, let's get into it. So as we're talking about the Man of Steel, I think the first thing is I want to do in this video is actually just give an overview of his powers. Actually, if no one understands, like not a hectic in-depth overview, but really just an overview of like what the guy can do. Really, I think the first one we want to look at is definitely Superman and his solar power battery type of body. So we all know that he comes from Krypton, where they have a red sun. So on Krypton, actually Superman would have just been a normal kid like me, making YouTube videos. But here on Earth, and this is a key thing, right? The yellow sun, his body reacts to it differently. So he's able to absorb actual rays of sun from from our yellow sun. Let's say that. Okay, from our yellow sun, and and I think like the biggest defining moment about Superman is that Superman actually would be nothing without the yellow sun. His powers actually all stem from the yellow sun of Earth, and without it, he would literally just be another regular guy. I think also there's a second defining thing here is that Superman is not like. The reason why he's stronger, and he's stronger than every other Kryptonian, and we're talking about even General Zod or even Supergirl, it's purely because he grew up. So when you grow up, it's like if I grew up, right? If I grew up in a country that is predominantly has a lot of sun, a lot of heat, and so on, I would be able to do normal day activities on a hot day. Where if someone who came from a different type of climate, where someone who comes from a more colder and darker area, they would be like, damn, why is it so hot? And why is it so damn hot? And how can people even stand or even move around or work like this? But it's being acclimatized to it. And because you're acclimatized to the environment, you're able to do a lot more in the environment. So his cells are used to the yellow rays of the sun being absorbed in his body, and not only that, they have expanded much more than the General Zods of the world, to say. Okay, I think, but yeah, that basically about covers it. The second thing we want to look at is basically his speed. Superman, a lot of the time, unlike the image I'm showing here, or here, or here, is everything's inverted. Is that he's not faster than the Flash. Flash is actually faster than him. I think there were speed readings given out by DC the other month or something last year of who's actually faster. And Superman's fast. I mean, we've seen Superman be able to fly, fly literally and break the time barrier. All right, to be able to fly into our back in time, fly into even different alternate universes. I mean, this is just purely because, and in the DC universe, the universes work on a frequency, much like a radio frequency, and he's able to adjust his body and fly straight into a different frequency, which is actually kind of cool. So, but I would say it does put him in the same league as the Flash. I mean, multiple times if the Flash is going awry and the Justice League is like, whoa, Flash, relax, they actually send Superman first before Flash picks up too much speed and Superman cannot catch him. So that's also another thing. Another defining thing is that you can be really fast, you just need to be able to pick up speed. So yeah, I think let's look at the next thing. So what would be the next thing? The next thing I would say is actually X-ray vision for Superman. So it's pretty cool. Superman's X-ray vision can actually detect radiation beyond this the physical light spectrum, and he's able to spot many things actually coming from a distance. and even on a microscopic level. All right. The only exception to this is that Superman can actually not see through lead, which is yeah, which kind of sucks. But yeah. I guess you gotta. There's a caveat to everything, in my opinion. So yeah, I think the next thing we want to look at is Superman's invulnerability. Superman is highly invulnerable. There's literally nothing on Earth that can really touch him. Superman can, I mean, he can dive into whole volcanoes, come out unscathed and unharmed, and he's all okay. Almost, yeah, basically almost nothing. And this is cool. So I was watching Big Bang Theory some other months, and it was a very old episode, and they were fighting actually about Superman. His nails are invulnerable. His hair is invulnerable, and then you have to ask the question: how the hell does Superman actually shave? In my opinion, I think Superman just takes his nails and like scratches hair off his face, and like I don't know, clips hair with his nail. I don't know, unless like Batman gave him a Kryptonian scissor or something. So yeah. But yeah, cool. I think the next thing is very obvious. It's Superman's heat vision. It's basically just him shooting out these heat beams out of his eyes that literally they can melt, and not just melt, but also have a great force of impact to whoever they hit or whatever they hit. They can be actually, they can be very broad in terms of like he can expand his heat vision more parallelly in order to hit multiple foes at the same time, and also be very acute with it in order to be very precision based with his heat vision. His heat vision doesn't always have to come out with the beams, but he can exert heat at a lower residence so that it doesn't look like beams, but he is heating something up. You see that actually in Man of Steel, the movie. And because actually everything comes out of his eyes, wherever he looks, he's able, because his vision is actually so good, he hardly ever misses with his heat vision, which is actually kind of cool. All right, now the next thing, I wouldn't really call a superpower, but he's actually kind of clever. Superman is actually not a dumb guy. He's been shown to be basically like pretty intelligent, where he's even shown himself to like everything he sees and everything he reads, he actually remembers, which is kind of cool. I mean, not only that, with speed reading, because he's so fast, he's able to take in whole mathematical textbooks, actually, or doctor's textbooks or law textbooks into his head in a matter of seconds. Like, meaning his brain can comprehend things even at that speed, which is kind of cool as well. The second thing, and the other thing, not really a superpower either, but his combat skills. Superman is actually a pretty seasoned fighter. In the beginning, unlike the New 52 where they rebooted him, he had a lot of just brawling skills, and they were quite formidable anyway, but later on he got trained by Wonder Woman. But through the years, Superman has actually been trained by Wildcat, by Batman, and by Wonder Woman. And you'd have to ask the question, like, why would Superman need to actually be trained? Well, reason being is because you can be really good at fighting. Like if you land a hit, the person's dead, but you have to land the hit at the end of the day. If you don't know how to land the hit, then shucks, bro, you suck. So and also to help him restrain himself a lot of the times. A lot of the times, like Superman, if he had to punch something, it would destroy multiple. I mean, you could punch the world in half if you really wanted to let loose. Like, there are very few times Superman actually lets loose. So it's also helping to restrain himself and also to minimize damage while he fights, because he can cause a lot of destruction. I think the next thing is actually kind of obvious, is Superman can fly. I think what's cool about flying is, like, much like you're walking and you're running, he's able to adjust his speed and his direction mentally and unconsciously, which is really cool. And I think the next thing has to do with his freeze breath. So his freeze breath is also very awesome. It's what happens is that Superman's able to inhale and pressurize air within his lungs and exhale it at a sub-zero temperature, right, in just one single breath. I mean, we've even seen Superman inhale just with one breath and be able to fly through space, like, for hours, and he'd be fine. So yeah, so Superman can do that. He's actually kind of cool. No, he's like what? And then the last thing we have to talk about is basically Superman's strength, guys, it is ridiculous. So all of the solar radiations and conversation that I just had before, this is really what is the foundation of that theory as well, and not just the theory, that fact is that Superman he can do almost anything. He swung like light poles around like it's a baseball bat. He can bend steel, and I've even seen Superman, like the concussive vibrations caused from his fists while he's fighting can knock out like a block of windows, like shatter a block of windows like in one go, which is very, very scary to think about. But like I said, very rarely Superman actually lets loose. He actually holds back most of the time. And if you're counting things that are in continuity, Superman has actually once pulled in a bunch of planets into a solar system out of a dying, like there were planets and they were surrounding the sun, and the sun, I think the universe was dying, like the sun was dying, and he pulled those planets out. All those planets, he linked them up with the chain and pulled them out. That's a strong chain. But yeah, I think that's about it. So yeah, listen, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Please watch more. Please let me know if you want to learn more about another superhero and their powers. This is not going to be the only video about Superman. There's so much more to Superman, his character, that I really want to go through. So yeah, you can follow me on Twitter. You can follow me on. You can subscribe to me on Patreon. I am on Twitch now, but not for comic books. I'm just gaming. And yeah, I'll catch y'all later. Cheers.